Our ancestors said, Paropakarartham idam shariram. Your body is for someone else. And how true it is, because, as I said, Minister of Naam kya? Vallabhai. Vallabhai and myself are such close relatives. He has 100 trillion cells, I have 100 trillion cells. They love one another so much that I almost would have become one with Vallabhai but for the immune system. We all would have been one cell mass called syncytium but for the immune system, because our cells love one another. Supposing I hate Vallabhai, my cells get confused. What's this ass doing? I love Vallabhai cells. This fellow wants to hate him. So eventually my cells hate my own cells. Because they don't know, because my cells are as good as Vallabhai cells. There's no difference at all. So if I hate Vallabhai cells, my cells hate me. So those who hate others very, very badly, called hostility, they get what is called autoimmune disease. Your own cells kill your own cells. Supposing I hurt Vallabhai, I am hurting my own hand. To that extent it is harmful. Similarly, if I go out of my way to do something for Vallabhai, though of course he doesn't need anything, supposing I do something for him, my cells become so happy that my immune systems get so boosted up that I never get any disease. And if I have a disease, the disease goes away.
If you have dry skin, excess body heat and searching for a solution, then this one is for you. Try out this boiled aloe vera juice. Check out the link for the recipe in the description box.
But two things make you have cancer from those cancers which you have every day. One is hatred, what is called hostility. The other one is eating a lot. If you overeat and eat, cells say, oh, there's plenty of food, let me grow. So, if you are frugal in eating, exercising, and helping others, paropakaraartham idam shariram, most, if not all diseases disappear on their own. I have written an article on grudgitis. Appendicitis you understand, tonsillitis you know, grudgitis you didn't know. Grudgitis is a much more dangerous disease than tonsillitis. Tonsillitis you can just drink hot water and the tonsil will be alright. But grudgitis no, you've got to leave that grudge. Grudge is the greatest worry and the greatest burden on your head when you walk. Life is too short to encourage grudge. But life is not short enough to love everyone. That is why universal love is the most important thing. We have now changed the definition of health. Health is not absence of disease, which is impossible to attain. All of us have some disease because our definition is such that you can't not have disease. Because we don't have anything called normal in biology. What is normal? They say, oh, your normal blood pressure. I said, what is normal? We don't have normal. We are average. Let us say we have checked 100,000 people and they plotted their BP with a Gaussian curve, mean plus 2 standard deviation, we say. It's keeping on changing depending on the need of the companies. You know, when I was a student, we were told 160 by 110. Above that, you think of drugs. Below that, you change the mode of life living. Because Sir George Pickering was the greatest researcher on hypertension.
Trying to boost your immune system but don't know how? Then try this gravy rich in medicinal values. Check out the link in the description for the medicinal gravy recipe.
It's a monograph. George at one stage wrote, I quote, anti-hypertensive drugs, blood pressure lowering drugs, deny man of the 3 important things of life enshrined in the American Constitution's preamble in 1772 written by Thomas Jefferson. What is that? Life, liberty and happiness, pursuit of happiness. He says life you are not sure with or without drugs when you die. Liberty you don't have because there are a lot of restrictions. You can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't do this, you can't do this. And pursuit of happiness, happiness is gone. So, if you really want that, then that's what he said. More, I quote him again, this is a very important sentence, make him by heart it. More people make a living in this world of hypertension, OFF, than dying of it, OF. Did you get that? More people in this world live of hypertension than dying of it. Hypertensive drugs, anti-hypertensive drugs, the biggest money spinner for this world. And we are very happy because we want stocks to go up, we want our money to go up, we want everything to go up. I'll just digress for a minute. You must have all heard about swine flu. No? You ran around with that mask and all and never went anywhere and did all that. Whole thing was a hoax to make money. Did you know that? No. See, in every winter season in Europe and America, flu is a common thing. This is a minor illness syndrome. 4 minor illness syndromes make you more sick than heart attack and cancer. You probably didn't know about that. You are only talking about cancer, diabetes, hypertension. No. 4 things. Sore throat, flu-like illness, common cold, and feverish cold. Did you know this?
If you are worried about skin-related problems and frequent cold or cough, then try out this Kupamani soup. Check out the link for the recipe in the description box.
In Europe, in winter, 50 million people do not go to work because of one of these 4 diseases. And all these 4 diseases require Indian treatment. Such that when you have a cold, the virus lives in your nose and that's bugging you. You can't breathe enough. And you go and take a tablet. What does it do? Temporarily it gives you relief because it closes your blood vessels. Afterwards it opens it wide and you get more further congestion. Then you get cough. Then you may even get asthma. Instead of that, when you get the first few sneezes, go home, ask your mommy for a bowl of water, boil it, and the fume comes up, close your mouth, don't go very close because it will burn you, little distance. Breathe that fume in and out, maybe for 5 minutes. Your nose becomes 1 degree centigrade warmer and the virus dies. And next day you are fine, you can go work. This treatment is free. That is why it is not popular. Did you get that? Suppose you get sore throat. Do you know the best treatment? Sip hot water. If you don't like water, many of you don't like water. Sip hot tea, doesn't matter. But keep on sipping for about half an hour so that the throat temperature and your head temperature goes up by 1 degree centigrade, germs die. But who wants to do that? Suppose you get a flu-like illness. Simply sit at home, don't go for work, rest. Number 2, plenty of water. Number 3, eat in moderation. And next day, you are okay. On the contrary, you take one of these lowering drugs, fever lowering drugs. They are the deadliest. The body wants the temperature to go up to kill the germ, you want to lower it. So this fellow will be off color for about a week or 2. This is called malaise. And then it will depress the immune system so that a secondary infection comes, you get permanent cough, hacking cough. Then you take a cough syrup, it suppresses the cough and it becomes a pneumonia. Cough syrups are banned in all countries except India. Most countries, not all countries. If cough should be treated for the cause and not the symptom. Cough is an indication there is something wrong, find out what is wrong or ask your doctor to find out what is wrong and treat that. Cough can be tuberculosis, cough can be pneumonia, cough can be cancer, cough can be anything, cough can be simple cough. And if you suppress the cough, if you have said, let us say, cancer inside the lung, for so long time you know.
If you are worried about skin-related problems and frequent cold or cough, then try out this Kupamani soup. Check out the link for the recipe in the description box.
You don't know that cancer is there unless the cancer comes out of your mouth. So, symptom treating is bad. That's why I said, when you have a first symptom, what does it mean? Your immune system cannot cope with what is wrong and it has failed. So, he gives you, then you go to a good doctor. I was telling you the good doctor is a family doctor because he knows all about you, etc. etc. Then we went at a tangent. Come back. Now, when this doctor has seen you and advised something, follow it faithfully and have faith in him. Faith in him. That will provoke your immune system and cure it. I was telling about a study which was done in Oxford, Cambridge, Hamburg and Munich and published in 2012 in one of the most prestigious journals called Science Translational Medicine, STM. This study showed severe pain, irrespective of what the cause of the pain is. They were running a drip of morphine into the patient and doing his fMRI, functional MRI to see what the brain does, and told the patient, this is not morphine. This is a new vitamin we have found out for your pain. So you will not get pain relief, but you will get relief of your disease. Not a single person got pain relief. Then they took that patient, crossover to study the other side, ran saline drip, salt water, and told the patient, this is morphine. You use salt or morphine. Everybody's pain went. Now they found out from the fMRI that when the patient believed it is morphine, when it was only saline, the forebrain produced such powerful opioids, much more powerful than morphine, that the pain disappeared. When he didn't believe it was morphine and it was morphine, what was happening to the forebrain? It slept. Nothing happened. So, placebo. That's it. You see a doctor, a good doctor, you see him. And then if he says, hey, don't worry, you're all right. You'll be all right. Kai Rashi solvang. In South we say Kai Rashi. Kai Guna. Touch. Touch is a very powerful thing. You transfer your biological energy, you just tap him on the back and say, hey, you're all right. Don't worry. You must be generous with your patient. And then he will be all right. But we have become nocebo doctors. We see the patient and say, oh my God, this looks like a cancer. Maybe maximum you have got about 6 months to live. I don't know how we say that. We are worse than the astrologers. Many times what happens is the patient is very bold and doesn't believe this doctor, he'll outlive the doctor and attend his funeral. Scientifically, a quantum physicist who teaches physics in Strathclyde University in Glasgow, William Firth, has written a beautiful article in the British Medical Journal, Chaos, Doctors Predicting the Unpredictable Future of Patients. Please read this, you will understand it because he wrote it in the Christmas issue. Christmas issue of the BMJ is reserved for light sort of science which ordinary man can understand. Please read this, I'll give you the reference if you want. W.J. Firth. You go to the Google and say Firth W.J. Article's name is Doctors Predicting the Unpredictable Future of Patients. Even when you go to a doctor and say fever and you, doctor, I've got a very important board meeting tomorrow, don't worry, take it 3 times, tomorrow you'll be all right. Bloody doctor doesn't know a damn about what he's talking. Don't worry. And this is in the British Medical Journal, write down, BMJ. You go to the Google, free it is available. BMJ 1991. Okay? Then semicolon, 303. Then colon, 1565. Did you get all that? You will get the article, read it. One reading may not help you, read it about 4 or 5 times. You will get to know how foolish we doctors are in predicting your future because quantum physics, there is no future. It is yet to be born. Future is not born. Yesterday is dead, so why worry about yesterday? I always tell my students who are worried about the exams and all, forget 2 days in a month, year I say, you will be happy. What are the 2 days? Yesterday and tomorrow. You are happy. Today you are happy anyway. So I always tell them, work as if you are going to die just now. So you become very kind. When you think you are going to die the next minute, you are kind to everybody. You have no enemies, no